Because if you wake up in the morning and you're still smelling neutral and you put it on, nothing's getting past, our stuff. Nothing's going to make you stink. But if for some reason you've woken up stinky, like maybe you had a shower last night, but you're actually going through a hormonal change, or you coming down with something, there's a bit of a bacterial or a viral load in your body that's not common, or your gut's offset, or any number of things in your body chemistry will come out primarily under the arms, and then you can apply our deodorant over that. And what I say to our clients is it will literally eat the stink off your skin.
Hi, I'm Carla. You're listening to Free to Be Curious. I've named this podcast after the values of freedom and curiosity. These inform and motivate the self-directed lifestyle choices that my family and I enjoy. I hope my guests inspire you as much as they inspire me. Welcome back to the Free to Be Curious podcast. We post weekly and we record our podcasts in the Riverside.fm online recording studio, and we use Buzzsprout to host our RSS feed. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Deezer, Amazon, and YouTube. Hit subscribe on our YouTube channel and click the bell icon to be notified when new episodes are released. Head on over to my website and sign up for our newsletter too, as that way you'll stay up to date with all our releases, promos, discount codes, and more. Join me on these socials, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. All of these links are in the description below and in the show notes. My guest today is Simone Penn. Simone is the founder of mothersnaturetribe.com and the creator of SMELL MAI PITS, which is known as the last new deodorant you will ever try. She is also a mom, a dear friend, and someone who has inspired me non-stop with her own self-directed lifestyle choices and her entrepreneurial venture and marketing campaign for SMELL MAI PITS. In fact, Simone was the very first guest I ever interviewed when I started this podcast, and that conversation with Simone was so stimulating that I committed to going pro one day. Fast forward a couple of years, and today Simone and I are going to chat about the background to her entrepreneurial venture in the natural deodorant space, the actual deodorant as a product, her super successful marketing campaign, her subscription model, why running a business in South Africa is so cool, and why South Africa is a great place to stay in right now. Oh, and big reveal, SMELL MAI PITS has a discount coupon for our listeners, and coming soon, an affiliate program. So, Sim, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
It's such a pleasure. Can you take us through the journey of your Deo business from conception to where you are today as a successful e-commerce entrepreneur?
Okay. Am I a successful e-commerce entrepreneur? I feel like I'm an unsuccessful adult faking it online. But anyway, yeah, you were there literally from the beginning, Carl.
Sim?
I literally remember mixing deodorant in the kitchen like a month after this all happened. And you and I'll tell all the listeners your dirty secret that you're a chartered accountant.
We try to keep that on the lowdown.
Oh, it's out now, darling. And we were just discussing numbers and things like that. But where it really started is, it's so funny. Our journeys are very parallel, because our first podcast that we did together was pretty much 5 years ago, and we sort of met about 5.5, 6 years ago. Started the Mothers Nature Tribe WhatsApp group. Back then it was just a WhatsApp group, I wanted to find maybe a couple like-minded moms and women in my community, and we could share resources. That was the goal of making the WhatsApp group. And that is really where it all started, because I started my journey then, zero waste and zero tox and all those things. I mean, I look back then, what I knew then compared to what I know now, it's so funny. And you joined the WhatsApp group. And then at that time, we made a decision, my husband and I, to sell what I called our McMansion and build an eco-pod. And that's what started that interview. And at that time, I was just making natural deodorant for myself and my friends as part of my journey to zero tox and what you would call self-directed journey of, why am I buying this? Just because that's what everyone else does. And why am I using this? And what are the effects and what's going to happen? And I think that's what we spoke about a lot, just making my lifestyle choices. And then fast forward, I would say about 3.5 years to December 2020. My husband and I were going on holiday, and I wanted to kind of spruce up my face a little bit. And I kept saying to him, I've got to go to Dr. Barnes. She's an aesthetics doctor. And he said to me, you can do whatever you want, but you will be paying for that yourself. We've just bought a house. At that stage, we had decided to be normal and buy a house. Shocker, it didn't work out. I said, fine, I will pay for it myself. And he said, okay, that's cool, but, you don't have a job, hey? Like how you need actual money to pay for things. So I said, I will make some money. I'll sell my deodorant. And he was like, okay. And I put a message out on our WhatsApp group.
I remember.
Is there anyone on our group who suffers with, body odor or hasn't found a natural deodorant yet that suits them, that would like a free sample, and just to give me feedback. And literally, it's kind of like, if the story seems like it's slow and now it hit the crescendo, that's exactly what happened. It was like, 5-6 years and then one woman tried it, couldn't believe it, posted a review on a local Facebook group that exploded literally in the comments, in the phone numbers, emails. People were mummish arriving at my door of this house. It was like it was like we had started a backdoor drug company, but not the legal kind. They were buzzing the doorbell. Hello, have you got any Deo? My friend gave me your address. I don't know if you've got. And it literally, it was exactly like that. And in that week, my friend had arrived from Israel to visit. There was a family of 5 staying with us. And she was like, what is going on here? Who are these people? What is going on? And it's actually quite funny because one of the ingredients is like a white powder. So it really was very, very similar to cooking up, I don't know, some sort of drug. And then, so I made the money for the doctor. I went, I had my face, sort of spruced. And then off we went to Cape Town for our holiday. And I still remember landing in Cape Town International Airport, turning my phone on prematurely while we were still taxiing because I'm such a rebel. And the phone was just going nuts. Like there were just WhatsApps from unknown numbers, messages, missed calls. And I showed my husband and I was like, I don't know, look at this phone. I don't know what to do. And they were like, where are you? Is there any Deo? Anyway, so we hustled. We were only away for like a week, but we hustled. We were phoning my mother-in-law, go to the fridge and fetch this and do that. It was like, it was a comedy of errors, but that worked out really well. It was so fun. And then we came back, and that's when you came to visit me. It was in the December. We came back from Cape Town. Everyone was still away, but yet people were saying, I need a deodorant. I'm gonna courier to my child on camp. They're on camp and they're stinking, and I'm so worried they're going to be embarrassed. It went mad, and everything kind of just exploded from that. I mean, I don't remember a lot of it so well, but if I look back at the records, like I can see our first e-commerce sale was, I think, on the 21st of January. And that happened also, like, just explosively. I kind of have like 2 or 3 people that I would say I owe this entire business to. The first person was the woman who wrote that review on the Facebook group. Literally, she wrote one sentence on a Facebook group. Her name's Tani Swimmer, and like, massive shout out to her. The second person that I feel I owe so much to is another friend of mine. His name's Justin Baskin, and he manages and co-owns like a local restaurant in my community. And he often like will send me little tidbits on WhatsApp, like generally Harry Potter stuff, to say like, I think you'll like this, I think you'll like this. So I thought it was one of those messages, and it was. And he introduced me to Equid. Right. And without that introduction, I can tell you right now, we wouldn't be here. Equid is my e-commerce platform. A lot of people are very familiar with Shopify or WooCommerce. So I would say like Equid is like their sort of Lart Lamaki younger brother. Yes. That like not many people know about. But it's just so much better. It's you know, there's a free plan that we started on, and we only moved up to a paid plan once we were turning over many hundreds of thousands. So it's not as if it's like a free plan, but actually you can't do anything on the free plan, you know? We made the free plan on my phone. Yeah. I literally downloaded the Equid app. At that stage, what is now the website was a very rudimentary blog that I would write about all our, you know, naturalist exploits. So we just like integrated Equid as a page on the website, which also is, I know like it sounds like I'm an e-commerce, you know, sort of entrepreneur, yes. But as you know, even for this interview, I joined the wrong link and then I was sitting in the wrong room waiting. Like yes. I can't even create a Zoom link. So the fact that I was able to integrate Equid to my Wix website shows you how easy it is. And within like an hour, I was like, oh, I think we just got a sale. And my husband was like, who knows that you have, like, who's buying? No one knows that we're selling online yet. I was like, I don't know, I guess it's like a follow on my blog or something. And then, then it just,
but Sim, it's
as they say, the rest is history.
The rest is history. But two things I wanted to pick up from there that I think you might have forgotten in, like you said, you've forgotten how hectic it was. You had the funniest marketing campaign on a street in the community where you stood there with cardboard signs and you had a photographer take pictures of you from a distance, but you stood there really with your peers saying, absolutely. You smell like sweat mixed with Deo on a cardboard sign. And it was the funniest and most amazing marketing campaign. And I think that is what has set you apart from other entrepreneurs in the natural space is your tenacity and chutzpah in the marketing. You honestly are brave. And the other thing is that you mentioned that lady who posted the review. And then your whole marketing campaign is literally just people's testimonials on a Facebook ad. Am I right? Is that the crux of it?
100% correct.
So everything is authentic. You authentically stood there with your peers with a sign saying, you stink.
I did. And it's so funny because I did it outside the school on a traffic circle.
Yes.
So on the different class WhatsApp groups, I said, guys, I'm going to be doing a little promo. I just sort of vaguely gave the address. I didn't say I'm going to stand like a lunatic with a cardboard sign in the street. Yeah. I just gave a vague idea, and I said, like, if you drive past and you're fetching your kids and you happen to get a photo, post it on social media and don't hold back.
Yes.
You are welcome to tag me and say, this chick has lost her mind. She's lost the plot. Like, she's standing there in a pair of Havaianas holding up a sign saying, your teenager stinks of pheromones and David off cool water.
I remember that one.
Yeah. Because I just was like, every boy I ever smooched in high school, they were wearing David off cool water. But it was like a little bit like
plus BO
mixed in there with the hormone smell. So that was quite a big deal. You're right. That sort of started a lot of it.
I think of it as you had the product, which is incredible, and we're going to talk about that product. And then you had the chutzpah, and you also had the need to earn the bucks. And the chutzpah
needed that face money.
Yeah, so you had real motivation. If ever there was a motivation, it was that one.
Well, that's the thing. There was a very authentic motivation, and not for 1 second, not even half a second, until we got back from Cape Town, did the thought of this being an ongoing business venture, did that cross my mind? Not for a second. And sometimes I think maybe that's why there is this element of success, because you know what they say, like if you focus on something too much, you can like kind of squash it.
Yes.
I was like, oh, cool, someone else wants. Oh,
Yes.
someone else wants. I wasn't like, we've had this many sales and this. I was just like, maybe I'll get Botox next time. You know, I just was like,
It's going so
I never have to worry about my face ever again.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's going so well.
Tell us what makes this product so special. And I mean, I told you that I struggle to call it a deodorant because it's so different.
Yes,
it's a paradigm shift. You're calling it deodorant, but it's something more and a bit different. So can you take us through what it is and how it works and why it works?
Yeah, I agree. The word deodorant is really like almost a misnomer in this instance, and we're just using it like because that's, you know, how like Hoover has become a common name for a vacuum cleaner, but actually it's just the brand.
Right.
So we just call it deodorant because I guess that's easy access, but it's a total paradigm shift. We are not deodorizing anything. We're not masking any smells, and we're not clogging any pores to stop sweat. What we're actually doing is we're saying, and what this product does is it allows you to sweat as much as your body needs to sweat. Like in the same way that you wouldn't, sort of take Imodium because you don't want to like go to the loo while you're at work, so you clog up your colon. Why would you do the same thing to your pores? Like, you need to sweat. Your body needs to get stuff out. There's a reason you have that, you know. But I absolutely acknowledge that it's very embarrassing to stink. So what we do and what our product does is it actually just neutralizes bacteria, viruses, hormones, any sort of organisms that are coming out in the sweat, which is what causes the smell. It's not the sweat itself. Our active ingredient just neutralizes that. When I say our active ingredient, that's just jargon because everything in our deodorant is edible. Early on in my journey with natural lifestyle, I learned that, you know, if you put it on your skin, it's going into your bloodstream. So therefore, my rule of thumb became, if you can put it on your skin, you need to be able to eat it. Right. That was like my litmus test. And so our deodorant is edible. It tastes disgusting, really disgusting, but nothing will happen to you if you eat it, you know? And your breath may improve, I guess. I don't know. So that's the product. That's what it's all about. I can, you know, if you can bake a cake, you can make a natural deodorant because you probably have all the ingredients in your pantry.
Get it. And it's fantastic in the way that it works, that it neutralizes the smell, also keeps you not stinking. You mentioned that your husband said it's the prevention and the cure because it's doing both.
Yes, correct. Like if we could come up with a word that sort of connotes that. But yeah, prevention, because if you wake up in the morning and you're still smelling neutral and you put it on, nothing's getting past, you know, our stuff. Nothing's going to make you stink. But if for some reason you've woken up stinky, like maybe you had a shower last night, but you're actually going through a hormonal change, or you coming down with something, there's a bit of a bacterial or a viral load in your body that's not common, or your gut's offset, or any number of things in your body chemistry will come out primarily under the arms, and then you can apply our deodorant over that. And what I say to our clients is it will literally eat the stink off your skin. So no longer is it like, okay, you have to first make sure that you're 100% clean and dry, and then clog up your pores with antiperspirants, and then hope to God no sweat makes it through that, you know. Not at all. It's okay, you're smelling a bit, cool. Use it. It will just neutralize it. It's yeah, again, I wish there was a better word.
I get it. We're going to call it Deo because people are familiar with that, but it just is so much more. It's Deo Plus. I brought my Smell My Pits to the interview.
Oh, I see. It's been well used.
Yes. I need to hop onto the website later and order a couple more. I'm going to do the subscription model because that's going to take the load off my... off me. We're going to talk about that more. But I wanted to just talk about, you gave me the best hack for using this Deo, Sim, recently. You said, apply it, hold it down for 6 seconds, which I found to be the longest 6 seconds of my life, but I'm going to use it for taking deep breaths.
Deep breaths.
And then it's one swipe up, one swipe down. No more. I was using two more in the beginning, too much in the beginning. Because I'm used to normal Deo.
Yeah, you use, correct. So if you use too much, you are going to offset the balance of your body, your pH, and you're going to get a reaction. And I'm really so upfront about that.
Yes, you are.
It's all plastered all over the website because firstly, I don't want to lie.
Yes.
And secondly, I feel like when your body reacts to something, you have to understand why it's doing that, and you have to listen to your body. I feel like we've become so accustomed to drowning out the messages that we receive from our bodies. You know, oh, I've got a funky smell. Clog it up. Just keep it inside. No. What is going on? Why is there that smell? Sometimes people be like, oh God, I must, whatever the case is, I've got a different kind of odor this week, this month, this year, whatever the case is. Why?
Yes.
You know? So the reason that you may get a reaction is you okay, everything comes from the gut. I think you and I have discussed this pretty much our primary conversation for the last 6 years. But you know, thank God it's becoming more mainstream that the gut is the second brain, and gut health and your microbiome, people are, learning more, you know, and it is becoming much more mainstream. If you are basically stunting your body's excretory system, which sweat is a huge part of, you're not going to know what's going on in your gut. You're not going to have any cues and messages to decode. So if you switch, let's say, from an antiperspirant to my deodorant, and then you break out in a thrush, like what we call thrush, it is thrush, it's a candida outbreak under your arms. This is because your microbiome is overproducing candida. You more than likely are eating too many refined sugars. And then there's also another option, which can be that there's a dormant staph bacteria in your body. And for the first time, you're allowing your body to sweat. That bacteria comes out in your sweat. For the first time ever, your underarm is what it's supposed to be, which is a moist, warm environment. That bacteria is going to duplicate and spread and cause an infection. But again, that's a message from inside your body. This is a good thing. You don't want that dormant staph bacteria now coming out, God forbid, when you have a bladder infection, hooking onto that and running riot in your body or in your kidneys, in your throat, your larynx, whatever the case is. If there's a harmful bacteria that's living dormant in your microbiome, we don't want it there. We want to know that we can clear it out. And then, just getting back to your point. So the hack there is, do not overuse the deodorant. That's number one, because then you really will screw up the pH balance under your arms, which is a very unique balance. I think it's close to 7, whereas your general pH is 5.5. Everyone, those of us in our age group will remember the Johnson's pH 5.
I remember that advert.
And then also to hold the deo to your armpit for a count of 6. Not only can that be your mindfulness moment for the day, but yes, the one that you may or may not get, but it also will use your body's natural warmth to just soften and melt the product to a point that it gives you an easy glide. Yes. Some people, even if they're home, let's say they keep their deodorant in their bathroom cupboard and it's cold and dark, the deo will be harder. It's made of natural ingredients. It's not going to come out identical each time. And for me, that's a badge of honor. It's not a negative. Yes. I'm kind of that's how you know we aren't tricking you. That's how you know we're not sticking preservatives in there, because every time I bake a cake, it doesn't come out identical to the previous, So, but then if it's gotten a bit hard, don't go and start exfoliating your armpits. You're going to hurt yourself.
That makes so much sense. And I wanted to say, in terms of it being a natural product, I am so particular about anything that comes into the proximity of my skin and my body and my home, extending outwards. Yes. That for me to confidently recommend a product, it has to really be a natural product. And I confidently recommend Smell My Pits. And I refer people to on your website, your urgent page, where you explain what a reaction looks like, why you would get one, how to push through and persevere, how to treat it but carry on using the Deo. And I remember your guarantee is that you won't stink, but you're not guaranteeing that somebody won't have a reaction. If they do, you're there to hold their hand. You even say, don't go
100%.
radio silence on me. Talk to me. I'm
Do
there for
not
you.
ghost me.
Yes,
don't ghost me. I am your buddy. I am here to help you be stink-free and not miserable with it during.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so now that we've got a better understanding of what the actual Deo is, how does a person buy your Deo? So they hop on over to mothernaturetribe.com and
Mothers Nature, plural, mothersnaturetribe.com. Shame. I really wish that I had a bit of prophetic insight 6 years ago, but how was I to know? So mothersnaturetribe.com. Yes. It's a little bit of a mouthful, but whatever. Your browser will remember it. And yeah, then you can literally add to cart. We'll deliver to you anywhere, to your door. We always run cool specials, like this month for January. Delivery's 100% free.
Wow, that's a big deal.
Just because, I think it is a big deal, because I think that, our deodorant, because of the sort of quality grade of ingredients that we use, it's extremely expensive to create the product, And we don't use any preservatives, so we can't use anything like to water it down. So there's no water in the product at all, which would then require a preservative. And it's expensive. It does last a long time, so if you kind of work out the purchase price over, I mean, we've got a lot of women who use one stick over 8 months. But let's just say the recommended we say is about 2 months. If fairly, then it works out. But then to throw a delivery fee in as well, it can hurt the pocket for sure. And our goal really is to convert as many people to natural deodorant as possible, because most people don't know how they're hurting their body. So any way that we can do that. So this month is free delivery. Next month we'll do something cool, off the back of Valentine's Day and so on and so forth. But yeah, add to cart, checkout, there you go.
And shipping, is it all over South Africa that you're shipping?
So it's crazy that you say that. Yes, we do ship all over South Africa, literally all over. I mean, penthouse number AB Fancy 3, to right down to like Padstal nummer 1, 2, 4, 5, and we've delivered to townships, we've delivered to Pick and Pays because cashiers are ordering the Deo for themselves. It's I mean, I've actually got goosebumps now, because it's just it's so amazing. It's such a visceral problem. It's such a visceral and universal experience, and we are engaging with people that are so different to myself and my very small team, and it's amazing. We all are the same, really. It's very cool. But we also can deliver anywhere in the world. We can absolutely deliver anywhere in the world.
Global shipping has arrived.
Global shipping has arrived, and we've been working so hard behind the scenes to kind of create a seamless experience for the end user. Because we always had the international shipping capabilities, but it was very admin intense for the customer. Whereas now we've hired a coder from Israel, and he's worked really hard to just join all the moving parts, that in the same way that you, Carla, can go onto the website and get your Deo within a day or two to your front door with no extra admin, it's going to be the same now for all our worldwide customers.
That is huge, Sim. So anyone from around the world can order Smell My Pits from the same store that I log into. Congrats. That's a big deal. I can imagine the amount of work to get those moving parts together, but you persevered.
Yeah, no, I didn't. I didn't persevere. I outsourced.
That is a life skill. So tell us about your outsourcing and how you manage it.
Outsourcing is my drug of choice. I used to think sleep was my drug of choice, but it is. I've moved on. It's
addictive, this outsourcing.
I mean, it's glorious. Hi, Miguel. Outsourcing 101. the first thing that we outsourced, the very first thing that we outsourced was logistics, warehousing, picking and packing, and delivery.
Yes.
I guess this would be the third person that I owe this business to in part is a guy named Justin Drennan, and he created a company called Parcel Ninja, which is actually pretty unique in South Africa, but worldwide there's a lot of versions of this, which is basically third-party warehousing, picking and packing, shipping, from holding stock all the way to the end. They handle that. And that just, if we didn't have them, I mean, there's no way we would have been able to expand the way that we have, because before Parcel Ninja, it was my husband and I, and sometimes even my kids, literally packing every single order ourselves, tracking every single order ourselves. And again, it's that from manual to auto, so that's changed our lives. I mean, it's unquantifiable, actually. I suppose it's worth 4 million rand, I guess, but
incredible.
And then the next kind of outsourcing, which I wouldn't say is outsourcing, but I would say this is like perhaps what I'm most proud of, is our factory manager. We've set up our own factory now, and the woman who runs our factory was my domestic worker when I started cooking up the Deo. And she's just an intelligent woman, so when she would just be around while I was sitting there like a mad scientist tinkering on the stove, and instead of just kind of being like that, I'll just focus on what I'm doing, she would ask me questions, and she would say, what is this and what are you doing? And she started getting involved, just like small things, labeling, hand giving people, and then she was just there literally from the beginning. That she probably makes the Deo better than I do, actually, at this point. And she knows the product so well. She knows the ingredients so well that our orders of ingredients that will get shipped to her at the factory, and then she'll phone me and say, I'm smelling this beeswax, and I'm telling you now it's not the right beeswax. There's no bees flying around, so it's not the right beeswax, because whenever she melts the beeswax, she gets a swarm of bees coming because they can smell it. So she's even become more sensitive than I have. We've hired the most wonderful, life-changing, life-saving individual. Her name is Romy Apple. And we convinced we were separated at birth. My maiden name's Oppenheim. Her mother's maiden name was Oppenheimer. And we are just like, if you had to see our WhatsApp chat, it's literally me just going, stop reading my brain, stop reading my mind, get out of my, because we literally are like, she's changed everything again, just this one little timing, right person, right time, right place. And we've actually now promoted her to our HQ, which you might think stands for Romy Headquarters, but it does not.
What does it stand for, Sim?
It stands for Right Hand Queen.
I love.
Because we are queens with our crown.
That's one of the things that you've inspired me with. When we sometimes talk and I tell you how much I resist outsourcing, you say to me, you are a queen. Outsource what you need to so that you can be the queen. And I've always remembered that about you. It's something to do with self-worth and self-love, that you can see yourself as the queen and able to outsource to other people what you can't do.
It's hard. It is hard to see yourself like that. It's hard. I don't know why. It's harder for us women, I've found, just empirically, than I see, my male contemporaries. But it is a mantra that I've developed. I'm a daughter of the king, and as I have to act as such. And that just gives me a little bit of like, as you say, self-confidence, self-worth to say. And also to flip the arrogant narrative of like, it's only going to be done right if I do it.
That's self-destruction.
I'm not that amazing.
Yeah.
But it comes sometimes from a place of like, no one's going to do it as well as I. They may do it better than you. I hate to break it to you, Claudette, I'm telling you, makes the Deo better than I do. Romy is handling this business 1,000 times better than I do, because it's not her child.
And it's also her skill set.
It's her skill set. So she can look at it and say to me, right, like this and this and this and this is not professional. Whereas I'm like, but it's authentic and it's my baby. And she's like, Simone, no one cares. Be quiet. Sit down.
and tell me, talking about the male contemporaries, what is it like working with Johnny, your husband, on this business?
No, he's currently on probation.
Is he on probation?
We've had to have a
Again,
disciplinary
Simone?
hearing recently. No, he's constantly on probation because you're not allowed to p- your boss.
No, and you are the boss.
Even if she's your wife.
Even if she's your wife.
So Johnny also carries a deep, dark, dirty secret that he's a CA.
Yeah, we share that.
Although he doesn't think it's so dark and dirty.
But we do, right?
We judge him.
We do.
But he thinks it's a badge of honor. And I actually remember around about the time that you were sitting in the kitchen with me, and I just said, if sales continue like this could be our thing. This could be our family business. And he said to me, darling, that's my responsibility to provide for the family. This can be your pocket money. And so I just was like, challenge accepted, and now he, as you say, he works for me. He recently did confirm that I may or may not have signed a shareholders agreement that gives him 50%. I was like, I really need to start reading the things that I signed.
You should be.
But I said, that doesn't mean I still can't fire you.
Yeah, but you are the CEO, so of the home and the business. Even though you call yourself the accidental CEO, which I love.
I'm the accidental CEO of this business because this business happened by accident, but I'm a very intentional CEO of my home, my life, my family. This just happens to be an extension.
Yeah, no, I love that. I love that you've got that dynamic with your husband, and it's a funny one.
Listen, it's funny and we do have fun, but at the end of the day, I mean, when you talk about outsourcing, like he has a skill set that I don't know anyone else who has, He's not at all like that stereotypical male business, that kind of bravado at all. And he's extremely humble. He's the complete yin to my yang. Like everything that I lack, he is extremely adept in. And the things that he struggles with, like taking risks and being nuts and standing on street corners with signs, I can do that.
Yes.
That's my unique skill set, no filter.
I think that it's a trend at the moment to have a collab, like you've collabed with Parcel Ninja and you've collabed, Equid's a collab, Claudette is like a very intimate collab running the factory. Then you've got Romy as a collab.
Yeah, but
it's that spirit of collaboration.
And you know what? Absolutely. And I'm finding it just so empowering that firstly, I'm able to kind of who am I? But I'm kind of, even if it's Equid, like I'm subscribing there, I'm helping them become those unicorn stories, and hiring people. And then also we actually, we never have to meet each other if we don't want to. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm so passionate about this fourth industrial revolution, as they call it, and this, which I actually think Corona I like to try and find the positives in things. We also lost people, family members and friends during the pandemic. But the fact that people are no longer scared to use their credit card on the internet is progress.
It's huge progress.
It's progress as a race of humanity. And I'm so passionate about that, and the fact that we can connect with basically the whole world at any time, from our phones, from our laptops, from our bed. The guy who wrote some code for me is in Israel. But we all connected. I love it. I think
amazing.
It's wonderful.
And where did you learn all these amazing hacks about the marketing? Yes, it's your character to be so tenacious and have such chutzpah, but you also read up on how to market, and what were your resources in marketing?
I mean, how funny is that? Like, turns out just my personality is what they call guerrilla marketing. Just being a Looney Tune is called being an influencer, They've made a whole new list of jargon for me. But yeah, I guess the last and final person that doesn't even know I exist, even though I have emailed him a few times, but he doesn't know that he's going to reply one day.
After the 300th email, maybe.
I'm going to pelt him with olives digitally. His name is Sabri Subi, and he's an Australian guy who I have a huge amount of respect for, because he also, I guess he was more ambitious than me. He wanted to create a business, but he literally, it was him alone in his bedroom with a laptop. It was me alone in my bedroom with a smartphone kind of thing. And he is just my marketing guru. He talks about solving problems for your customers as opposed to trying to sell them something, which I am so like entrenched in. I don't want to like con anyone into buying something from me. I know what the problem is. The problem is you don't want to smell, but you're also scared, God forbid, to get breast cancer or other autoimmune illnesses that these cosmetics cause. So what's my solution here? You won't smell and you're not putting any toxic chemicals into your body. And then getting that message in front of people in a compelling way that like interrupts their sort of highway fog, you know,
the noise from
Instagram
everything.
hypnosis.
Yes.
Yeah, or just with and just, oh, yeah, no, I do smell and I would like to change that. Thank you. And then take them on a journey of truth and my experience, totally my experience. I mean, if you go to my website or my Instagram or my Facebook or whatever the case is, my YouTube channel, you're going to see the story. I don't have to ever remember because it's exactly the truth. I wanted to find a natural solution. Then I made it. Then, do you know what I mean? So he just kind of, through his YouTube channel and a book of his that I read, kind of gave me the confidence to say, don't pretty anything up. Don't get shiny object syndrome. Don't think, oh, well, if I'm on TikTok, I'm going to sell so much more. No. If you put a compelling message with a solution in front of an audience who need to hear it, that's all you have to do. It doesn't matter where you do it.
That's an incredible takeaway. I'm sure there's a lot of other small and medium-sized businesses who are listening to this who are getting a great piece of advice from that. It's like you do have a good product, but try and present it as you're solving someone's problem because that's why you created the product, and run with it like that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, in the beginning I was all about, but it's all natural. It's all natural. The truth is people have heard that before, and you and I know that we've tried every other natural deo out there, and an hour or two in we were like, best get back in the shower. Yeah, so to try and then go with that, it's not compelling.
Yes.
What people want to hear is, number one, you won't stink.
Yes.
That is the visceral problem over here. And then number two, it just happens to be so natural that you could eat it.
Wow.
But to lead with the natural thing, they've tried the natural route and they know it doesn't
And also
work.
natural is just a word that can be abused. So then they get to know your product and they can see that it actually is natural. They can look at the ingredients. And then also you've got some stunning fragrances, scent. What did you call them? Flavors. You know, not fragrances or scents. You call
I
them
like to call them flavors, yeah. Because it just sort of points to the edible factor. And also it's the scents, the flavors, the whatever you want to call them, it's all related to food. The only one that I'm thinking about that actually isn't is the vintage rose. I should really just change it to Turkish delight because that's what it smells like. Beautiful. I should really do that.
How do you come up with these flavors?
Oh, Carla, my brain is a very strange place that produces things. I don't know where it comes from. But vanilla mint, which is my favorite, and I think your favorite actually, and probably most people's favorite. It's definitely our best seller. I was just so obsessed with that smell, always in life. I actually wanted to call it vanilla mint orgasm, but, you know, Jonathan Pensier essay was like, so we called it vanilla mint climax. Then we have frozen mint explosion, literally because it's like my secret weapon. I put it on and within a couple minutes, my underarms are like ice cubes that are so frozen. Here's my PA. I'd like to introduce you to her. Could you just wave? Here she is. She's maybe she's my tea lady. And then we have ice cold lemonade, which actually isn't lemon essential oil. It's lemongrass, which is one of my all-time favorite smells. And that's also like when I smell it, I just imagine like this huge glass pitcher of like lemonade with sort of sliced grapefruit and ice, and it's like a little bit pink, you know? So yeah, and then the first scent or flavor that I ever did was can you sit down, please? Was wintergreen essential oil. But if you smell it, that kind of smells exactly like the Wix bubble gum we all ate as children. And it's such a nostalgic smell. It's so like stored in my olfactory system that I didn't want to call it like Winter Queen,
Yes.
or so. I was like, it's Wix bubblegum. That's what it is. And then we have an unscented one, because in the beginning, when I was just like playing around with scents and smells, so many people would say, like, do you just have a plain one? Because they want to just smell of their perfume. Let's say, for example, a lot of people like have been wearing the same perfume for 12 years or whatever. So we have unscented, and then we have the vintage rose, as I said, which I think I may rebrand as Turkish Delight.
They're beautiful flavors. I mean, I might even branch out and try another one, even though I'm obsessed with the vanilla mint.
It's just fun.
If I do this,
it's fun.
I agree. If I do the subscription model, how would it work with my choice of flavors? Do I have to choose the same one, and how will it work? If you can take us through that.
Okay, so how it works is that we do, as I say, like the rule of thumb is we kind of say sort of 8 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks. Most people do find that it lasts a lot longer than that, but we don't want to leave anyone behind, and I want the subscription to work for everyone. So worst case scenario, extra Deo, but I don't ever want anyone to run out who's on the subscription model. So what we do is we send 2 Deo every 3 months, or every quarter of the year. And when you initially subscribe, you put in which flavor you'd like for Deo 1 and which flavor you'd like for Deo 2. And then in theory, that will just automatically come to you every 3 months the same. But we've had a lot of people email to say, oh, this month, could I rather actually try this? And I'm like, yeah, sure. It's as easy as changing a setting, you know. So, and it's obviously not cast in stone. You can literally unsubscribe at any time.
Yes, there's options.
We're here for the end user. We want them to enjoy their experience.
I think I'm definitely going to go with the subscription model to just reduce my load. While I'm reducing the load of toxins on my body by using natural Deo, I might as well reduce the mental load. And I mean, that's something that you are passionate about.
Yes. I don't ever like to have like a New Year's resolution, but I do kind of like to come up with like a phrase or a word to like be the theme for the year. And this year more than ever, it's reduce the mental load, because I'm realizing that you can do all the things, like be the minimalist, be the naturalist, be the attachment mom, be whatever the case is, and whatever these words even mean. But if it's all going nuts up here and you're constantly driving yourself insane, it doesn't matter. So that's also why we wanted the subscription model, because there are people who are coming back every month, every week, every whatever the case is. They're so committed. They're so loyal to us. And our whole goal is actually just to make it easier for the customer.
Right.
Okay, we've got the business set up now. We've got all of that done. So now that that's, fairly smooth, how do we make it easy for the customer? How do we make their experience from start to finish the best one?
Yeah, and you do really get that when you visit your store. I really encourage everyone to visit the store. And we do have a little motivator for everyone. So I'm going to share it now. The discount coupon. If they come via my channel, they will get a 20% off discount for your store.
That's insane. I don't know who would authorize.
I just don't know which cray-cray accidental CEO would agree to such a crazy discount.
Some sort of psychopath. Definitely.
So thank you. So listeners, if you subscribe through my newsletter and to my YouTube channel, I will send you a unique discount code, making that 20% off your first purchase of Smell My Pits Deo. And
in January, you'll get free delivery as well.
Everyone go order now before January is over. Everyone wants January to be over, but just make sure you do your order before January is over. You will get all of that plus free shipping. So thanks for that generous promo, Sim and Smell My Pits. Just in case it wasn't obvious enough that Simone and I are South African from our very Joburg South African accents, Simone started this...
What are you talking about, darling? I'm from England. I'm the queen.
You are a queen, but you're a Joburg queen. Very much more posh than the UK queen. So you started this business in South Africa during COVID. Surely that had a few challenges, but... what are the opportunities and what do you see as the beauty of running a business in South Africa?
So and I've been other places that are more like developed or first world, whatever you want to say, and like there's no place like home. And I feel that sentiment is almost exponentialized in the business space and in the e-com space specifically here. Like everyone says, oh, you should list on Amazon. And I'm like, why? They've got everything in America. Like here in Africa, we're still developing. How exciting is that? Like we're nowhere near where they are, and that's a good thing. Like it's all still to come for us. So I'd rather be on the front of the curve of that wave than trying to break in somewhere where I wasn't born. It means nothing to me just because there's more people or there's more economic activity. So the fact that we have 75 million people and there's only 4 million economically active people in the country, that's exciting. Let's make it 5 million. Let's make it 6 million. Let's get people on their feet. That's what's happening. Everything's turning. It's turning slowly but gradually. You know, people are becoming more and more educated, more and more employed. That's exciting. Why would I want to leave an environment like that with so much opportunity and go to an environment where it's almost tapped out, you know? And I think in terms of starting a business in COVID, for me, it was a great time because, as I say, people were becoming so comfortable with having things delivered, ordering online, doing things in a remote way, not having to see or know the person that you're buying from in person.
And day-to-day opportunities and why you're staying, do you see hope for us?
Without a doubt. I mean, even if I just go back to the Equid example, you know, our Equid hosts our e-commerce store, and this is not like a paid promotional thing.
No,
I don't even know anyone from Equid.
I use them as well for another store.
I just love them. So, yeah, I just love them so much. And using that example, like when I first joined Equid like 2 years ago, there were very few plugins and apps and APIs and things like that. And even if I just look then to now, it's all coming, it's all happening, you know, it's growing all the time. And I see the same thing here in South Africa. Like I've had opportunities to meet with other entrepreneurs, other business owners, startups, sort of NPOs. The people that I've met are just so inspiring and continue to remind me that I'd rather be sitting on this side of 80% more of development that we need to go to than on the other side with no opportunities and nothing to do. There are amazing, amazing people in this country who are getting educated and starting businesses and retiring at 35 from businesses that they've started to go into like the NPO world entirely and uplift people. It's all going to happen. It's all coming. Like I can just see it, even if I see it on a macro scale, if that is an example of what's happening on a macro scale all over, like this is the place, like this is the place to be. It's all going to happen here. It's already happened elsewhere. Like why would I want to?
And South Africa is unique as a sort of place for opportunities. Things might have happened elsewhere, but different things happen in South Africa. So I'm also very much on the hashtag I'm staying wagon.
And also things, it's perhaps different things don't necessarily happen. Like I think we will have our own version of Amazon, for example. Everyone in America is obsessed with Amazon. Like
yes.
We have Takealot. So the same things happen, but they happen differently. They happen with our unique South African way and spirit and integrity. And I just think that is, you know, someone did approach us about listing on Amazon. He wanted to have like exclusivity. And he was just talking about how people will request refunds. So I have our unique refund policy, which is if you stink, I'll give you a refund. Like I can guarantee that you won't stink. And he was just saying, no, you cannot do that in America because every single person will just request a refund and you'll be bankrupt. I would never assume that people would take advantage of me here because it's maybe the 0.5% of the whole that are chances. But we've been in business, thank God, for 2 years. We've given 2 refunds, both of which I do feel were genuine. Those 2 refunds represent like 0.00001% of our turnover, so South Africans are just, we're good people, man. South Africans
I
are
totally
good.
agree. I agree. And Sim, so on the topic of the South Africans being good people, you were recently featured in the Retail Capital journal about your business. So tell us a bit about that.
That's so cool. So yeah, when we launched the e-commerce store, we needed a payment platform. So we went with PayFast. They were also really great. They accommodated us. We sort of negotiated like a bit of a lower fee with them. We were just starting out. I think that's also something that's pretty unique to South Africa. Like, you can approach PayFast, who are literally the merchants for Takealot and Superbalist, which I would say are the 2 biggest e-com businesses in the country at the moment. And you can negotiate with them because you're dealing with a person, and they are looking to empower SMEs. That, they need us as much as we need them. But they are backed by a company called Retail Capital. And what Retail Capital has got in terms of PayFast is they basically, they probably run an algorithm or whatever that checks your turnover, checks your income, checks everything. And then as such, automatically calculates a loan at any given time that they are willing to give you. So we decided to use that loan somewhere last year, I'm not sure. We were able to repay the loan so quickly that we actually didn't accrue any interest on it at all. But if we weren't able to do that, there's they just sort of pinch a little top off each thing, so you don't actually feel it. They, on each sale that comes through PayFast, they take a small percentage off to pay back that loan. There's a phrase that describes that. I can't remember what it is.
That's okay.
But so as such, they kind of obviously saw that on the back end and asked if they could feature us in their. They always do a publication, like an actual book, and this year's one is called Unmasked: SMEs and Startups During COVID, and featuring us, how we started in COVID and how did that affect us? Did it help us become more successful, less successful, etc., which I've explained and described. And that was the whole feature. It was amazing. We can perhaps let your listeners watch it, listen to it, whatever the case is, read it.
I'll put the link.
But it was cool. It was very cool because, they're serious guys, they're serious players, and they recognized, I guess, our success relative, and they wrote a really cool article about us.
That's amazing, Sam. We'll definitely post the link. And so after all that, what is next for you and Mother's Nature Tribe and SMELL MAI PITS?
I really hope like a little bit more sleep in this year. Just, we've touched on most of it, but really like rolling out the international, we really want to capture Africa country by country. We're just going to geographically move up. So I'm hoping to really expand heavily into Botswana in the next sort of quarter or to half of this year, get that subscription model working for people and getting users on board and taking away that mental load for them as well, as you say, because we have a critical mass of loyal and repeat customers, and we want to just get them so that they don't even think about it. It's like brushing their teeth. They don't even have to worry. And I guess, I want to see what the answer to that question is, actually. I don't know what's next, bar what we've discussed here, but each thing that's kind of happened to me with this business has always been so obvious and so logical, but also a huge surprise. Don't know where it came from. So I don't know. You're just as much in the know as I am.
I think knowing you, now that you've outsourced some of the admin and things like that, your mind is going to be freed to go so creative. And you even mentioned like vending machines with Deo.
Yeah, I'm just coming up with mad ideas, as you say, because my mind is free again. I was like, let's brand and put them in every single gym. So like when you're at gym and you go to the change room and it says, "Do you stink?" You're like, well, obviously I've just been in the gym for 2 hours. And then you can get a little Deo in the vending machines. I want to do mad things. I want to put like free samples at the checkout in different health shops, just so like, you know, people can have that experience for free and see how well it works. I want to partner with Vitality so that the education around upper quadrant breast cancer and aluminium, which is found in all of these deodorants and antiperspirants, becomes more common. I mean, if you had to understand how many people buy deodorant that don't know that the pros and cons of natural versus aluminium, that in of itself is something that could be my whole year's project, you know?
Yeah,
So,
that's advocacy there.
oh yes, absolutely. And you know, just, yeah, I'd love to have some education built in somewhere, more than what we have now.
Right, I get it. A knowledge base, I think, for your users and your customers would be
Yeah,
amazing.
you see, I've tended away from that in the marketing because I don't believe in like the fear mentality and using fear in
Yes.
marketing. I really don't like that at all because I find it quite
Right.
manipulative. And also, if they convert to my product, then by default they're not using aluminium, so I'm happy, you know.
Right.
But
I get that.
there must be a more creative and better way to educate people around it.
Yeah. And how do you manage it all? Sim, being the mom and the wife, running the business as the CEO, and how do you relax or take a break?
Zoloft. A lot of family plan on Zoloft. I
Ah,
meditate, Carla. I have a mindfulness
every
hour in
day,
the
right?
morning. Yes, of
God,
course.
it's
And
same
then
as
I do,
me.
yes, and then I do the yoga, and I've got so much quiet time. Um,
Right.
well, I'd like to show you where I'm recording this interview from, which is my unmade
Yes.
bed, okay?
Yeah.
Because I mean, you all saw my daughter running in and out. That like I didn't even like stop her coming in because like that's real. That's like my life. Like most of the time when I'm on a Zoom meeting with like some international logistics company, like the most important call of the year, they'll be like, "Mommy, I made a poo. Come off my bum." I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. To answer your question, I have no idea. I have no idea. I
Yeah.
don't know.
I also don't know, but it's nice to see another mom doing it. It's very inspiring for me trying to also do a lot to know that I'm not alone. And that's what's real. That's what's real is that your kids are around and they're part of it.
Yeah,
So
I don't want
it's
to
just a
pretend.
fact.
Like I know lots of mompreneurs, and like their kind of answer is like, you know, I try to have like one special moment with my child each day when I get home from work. I don't want
Mm,
that. I want a lot of quantity time with my kids as well as
mm,
quality time. I'm very fierce about that. Like
mm,
I want to be successful in what it, you know, business space, but not at the expense of my relationship with my children. So that means that I work from my bed, and that means that
mm.
I reply to emails at 2 o'clock in the morning from my phone. That's real. That's how it
Yes.
goes. That's how we cope.
Yeah, no, I don't think you could be anything but authentic. It's just not in your
It's
nature.
not built in. There's no
It's just
filter
not
here. I
built
got
into the
left
model.
out.
It's not.
Yeah.
And so, Sim, I wanted to also just mention for any other influencers out there that you are building an affiliate program and they
So
can,
glad you
when they're,
remembered. You see?
of course, I
No brain.
remembered. So, when it's up on the website, there'll be a little tab that they can click on affiliate and they can contact you for that. And we've mentioned the discount coupon. And yeah, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Just that I think you're amazing, and I'm so grateful to like be
Thanks,
on your
Sim.
podcast. You are
Thank
like the
you.
ultimate hero, mompreneur, doing it all. Like I think it's hilarious that you ask me because I'm like, Carla, you're gonna tell me how you cope, and then I'm gonna do that.
I
So
don't even, also, like I'm saying, I don't even know the answer. It's just perpetual trying
it's
to
one
manage
step
it all.
at a
But
time.
I agree with you on the reducing the mental load. That is also my secret this year, going into the year, is to be able to manage this and do it all and still have that attachment with the kids that we both so fiercely defend. It's going to be reducing the mental load, and it's going to be the confidence to outsource as much as I can. That is not just the stuff I'm doing.
And you know what? I wanted to say on that word confidence, because that is one of my words. It's so
Mm,
crazy that you said it. That is literally one of my words for 2023. I want to have the self-confidence to say, okay, I'm outsourcing the children on Sunday morning for 2 hours to their dad and not be like,
Yes.
do you mind? And then I'll take them in the afternoon. No, we all in this together. We all playing for the same team, you know, and to just be confident enough within myself to say, I don't need my husband to be like, you're doing such a good job. I can say that to myself and then be like, this is what I need right now. You are welcome to voice your needs at any time, and I'll do anything in my power to help you there. But just to be confident in myself, internal locus of control.
Yes, exactly. So I don't think I could have worded it better. It goes back to having sort of a self-love and self-care, self-worth belief system that, you know, does
a lot of us don't have.
Yeah, and I think it does start with liking the way you look and smell in a way, you know, like, so if you can just take care of not smelling too bad, you can feel a lot better about yourself. So Sim,
I agree.
thank you
One
so
less
much.
thing to worry about.
Yeah, just take away the worry about smell. You smell my pits, and you can stop worrying about that. And okay, so Sim, thank you so much for your time. Thanks for sharing with us.
The best
and
to be with you.
We can't wait to see what you're doing next. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for spending this time with me. I love getting to know my listeners. So please do subscribe to my YouTube channel and on your chosen podcast app. Engage with me in meaningful conversation on my comment-friendly blog, and send me an email to share your self-directed life story. My website address is the Free2BCuriouspodcast.com, and my email address is Carla at Free2BCurious.com. I really look forward to getting to know you.